didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire. We didn't light it, but we tried to fight it.
We're going to get hit for
Copyright
infringement. Hey.
Like I said, that sounded just like Billy Joel. Mr. Joel. Hello.
There's a Panic in the Disco cover, right? Is that who does it?
No.
No.
Fallout Boy.
Fallout Boy. It's Fallout Boy.
Yep, and they've updated it, and people don't like it. I gave it a listen. I appreciate what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
I really do.
Okay.
But yeah, they didn't go in order, and Billy Joel's version goes in order from like 1940s through.
Right. They just kind of threw a bunch of events in it together. Yeah. It was decades.
Trying to rhyme things. I mean, who's gonna be able to do Joel?
Nobody can do Joel.
No one can outdo Joel. Let's say that. 100 shows at MSG.
We only play 80s Joel.
Sir. Can we give our first shout out right now again to Tony Galicchio, probably the most shout outs.
It's been a while.
Because we're mentioned at Madison Square Garden, which reminds me that Tony used to mention a bar in Addison, New York that had a different name, but he used to call it Addison Square Garden.
Oh,
and I love that.
classy.
That was
That's
a
great.
missed opportunity for that bar in Addison, New York. Addison Square Garden. So thank you, Tony, for that constant laugh. That's in my mind many days.
Right on.
Dan, hello.
John, good to see you again, man. It's been a few weeks. Well,
Yes.
a couple weeks anyways.
About 2 weeks.
Yep, since we got one out.
Yeah, we get busy. Life's busy. We're going to probably talk about why we've been busy and what we've done, why we haven't been in the room together.
Well, check out the new room. Look around. Secret HQ. You got
Yes,
new headquarters.
HQ. We've moved. We didn't just hang a backdrop, but we were getting, we understood this as well, that we were getting a lot of glare from our frames.
I think I'm still getting a lot of glare from our frames, but anyways.
So we've moved to a secret headquarters.
Our glasses frames, I meant.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, he was talking about the picture
I
frames
meant
in the
those
background.
photo
Yeah.
frames. There were 7 of them, so lots of opportunity there.
Really nice backdrop, though, and we appreciate the hospitality having us up there for so many episodes.
Yes.
That we were in your secret in your lair up there. Yeah.
Well, now I was like, well, I better bring some Kleenex here because my nose runs and yada yada. But I think we're good.
Yeah,
We brought
so
a
far,
couple
so
of
good.
drinks. So yes, we're back. This is John.
Dan
Milhouse.
Yep.
I love as we were setting up. Dan told me, John, you mention people's names as you talk to them.
You do. You speak in interview form.
He's like, Dan, tell me more of this.
Yeah.
Dan, let's go to lunch.
It's
Not just let's go to lunch.
It's an endearing quality.
I said that's a family thing, at least from my mother's side. Oh, Aunt Peg, Aunt Joni. Oh, Aunt Peg, how are you, Aunt Peg? Great, Aunt Peg.
It is literally like a business technique that they teach you in college and business classes. I guess a lot of people that go to college for business end up at call centers.
I used to love listening.
Just joking.
I used to
Kidding,
love
kidding.
listening to my mom talk like that and kind of be like, that's funny. And I didn't realize that I did it too.
You do that, yes.
So thank you for
We're
pointing
all
that out.
Eventually, talk like our parents, become our parents. Eventually,
And Dan, so we're back, and this is maybe number 6.
7, I think.
Number 7.
Yeah, beyond the Rotunda.
And BTR. People
Yeah.
have been pointing us out when we go to Wegmans and Walmart. BTR.
We're getting some shout outs too. I love the personal phone messages that we got.
Yes.
We just got one last night from Jen. That was really nice. Jen and Adam. They were sent us a message.
See, really, that came to me too?
Yeah.
Okay, if anyone's been writing to me, my phone is pretty much maxed out on like space. So I actually know that people are writing me and I'm not seeing it. So
Uh-oh.
that's not good. So if people have been texting me, and I'm not going to give the number there because more might come.
Oh, right. Yeah. We don't want to put it out on the internet.
I'm missing text messages and I keep deleting. Like if someone sends me a photo in text, I'm like, oh, that photo was 3 meg. Come on.
If you really need to get a hold of him, leave a note at Railhead and they'll get out to him.
Norm.
Yeah, that's fun.
But we've decided we're changing the content. We're going to start talking about sports, right, Dan?
Yeah, just sports. Strictly sports.
All sports. So on our 7th show. No,
we're kidding.
April Fools.
Yeah, no. We're still going to stick with the 90s Hornell talk.
Yes. Mainly Hornell talk overall, focusing a lot on the 90s because those were our formative years for both of us. I tried to show Dan a video, VHS, of driving around Hornell in the 90s, and you could see gas prices and what was playing at the movie theater, but the camera work was atrocious.
In theory, you could see them, but in
Yes.
actuality,
Yep, no, unusable. So, a 12-minute video. I said, we'll recreate the drive. One of the coolest things was coming off Cleveland Ave back to Seneca on the far end near the Red Apple. I remember there used to be like a brick school building there.
Oh, yeah.
Right at the bottom of the country club, which is now the golf club. And now that's gone and there's a home there. But it's like, whoa, look at that school. So that was one where we had to come to a stop. So you see this building that's just no longer there. But maybe we'll throw a few clips in there. But that kind of reminds me, we ended our last episode.
Yes.
With clips from a fire drill. In the late 90s at Hornell High School.
How fun was that?
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, you've got to go back to episode 6, but hopefully you did see that, and wow.
I mean, legit, my favorite part about that clip was the current high school principal walking out and saying, everybody's got to get farther away from the building, right? Yes. How funny was that?
Yeah, it just worked.
Wow, I've been doing that for decades, hasn't he? That's fun.
Yeah, so we've got, and then former principal Carol.
Oh, yeah,
Scott Carroll. He's now moved on to Avoca.
Right.
But let's give a shout out to Scott.
Yep.
He was a fellow ITR.
Yeah, he's in a lot of the footage.
Yes, he was in the same class room as me, so we worked together on projects. But that was a great fire drill. Tim Berardi, Damian DeMarco, teachers at the time, outside with us students, just letting us do our thing, and that's the way that it was. In the late 90s.
The way that it was, yeah. Yep. There was a lot of, we used to be allowed in the hallways, and we used to be allowed out into areas unregulated. I guess it's different now is what I've been told.
Right. I've been told that too. I don't have kids myself.
Then.
You do, that they're in line. They're taking attendance.
I've literally never seen a fire drill. I've never been there for one.
Taking attendance. They're using walkie-talkies with us. It's like, all right, everybody get back a little bit. All right. And then boom. But my favorite line was my own, and I don't think I'm that funny, but saying to the camera, no one really takes the second fire drill seriously.
It was true.
Yeah, at this point, we all know it's just a drill.
We know it's coming, right?
I thought that was pretty clever by my 17, 18-year-old self.
Yeah, but they would do them 2 at a time.
Bravo, John. I wished I could have been there. I'm from the future.
That was a fun bit, though. Like, scanning through this stuff it's really fun. There is some unusable footage out of it, though. There's some stuff that we just can't do.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the 90s, so there's some stuff you can't use there.
I think a lot of wrestling talk, which as we're taping, it's WrestleMania weekend, and I've been watching that. A lot of wrestling talk, and let's just say, remember D-Generation X, DX.
Yeah, a lot of DX references, a lot of early Stone Cold references.
Yes. There's footage of our friend Jake Wilsey, so we'll give him a shout out. I was just watching footage of him asking our American history professor, Mr. Labordi, do you think you could take The Rock in a fight? And how fitting that The Rock wrestled last night in a comeback match.
Hey, there you go, man.
Yeah. And Mr. Labordi, I think cleverly said, not sure who that is.
Yeah, there is quite a bit of footage of you guys interviewing Mr. Labordi.
Yes, and the camera pans over where there's like 8 students fawning over him. So he was one of the popular ones for us at the time. But shout out to Fran Labordi, too.
Hey.
So Dan, yes, that was we covered some ground on a fire drill formerly. We'll leave you with another clip today.
Yep.
But when we were in our last cast, we mentioned the movies. We were both going to go to the movies, and we did.
Yeah, we did.
So
boy, did we go to the movies,
saw
man.
Unbillievible, and I'm going to let Dan talk about this because he talked to one of the actresses from the movie.
Yeah,
and I've got to just say that I was a little thrown off because I knew I had to be someplace immediately after the movie, and Dan was talking, and I want to talk, and he got to talk. But go ahead.
Yeah, it was a really cool time. So that the movie that we went and saw was Unbillievible, but we didn't actually go. I had edited into the last cast the time of the event that we were going to go to. We didn't actually talk about it on the last cast, but we ended up going to the event where the an actress from the movie was there, and it was really cool. It's written, produced, starring, directed by everything, the Bills Mafia.
All Bills Mafia members.
And it was super, super cool. And it turns out that the actress, Kristen Bowers-Gross, is the wife of a class of 2001 alumnus from Hornell High School, Aaron Gross. So it was his wife, and so we got to see him too, which I haven't seen him in, I don't know, close to 20 probably.
Years.
Yeah, close to 20 anyway. So got a big hug out of him. It was really nice to see him, and it was super impressive that the connection. Like I was real touched that they were able to come to the Hornell showing, and man, was that a cool time too.
Yes.
The movie was so much fun. If you get a chance, I know that I think they were showing this weekend in Rochester, but they ended up showing throughout that week at the Hornell
limited time
for that theater.
Film.
Yeah.
So let's give Aaron a shout out, former alum, and his wife Kristen.
She was great.
Who did great in the film.
She was so funny in the film.
And she was in the theater with us. That just made it extra special.
And then after, she explained a little bit about it, made more sense after she explained some of the stuff that,
yes, at the very end.
Right at the very end, it was.
I think we were all like, "Oh my gosh!"
I know, we thought it was real heavy,
why
and
that
then,
had to happen.
And then she was like, it was a gag. So that was cool. But the movie it's a total inside joke. If you have ever lived in Buffalo, or if you're a fan of the Mafia, you'll get it. We laughed super hard at a few spots.
Yes.
I mean, it's really entertaining, and it's super creative, and it's I was glad to be there, and see an old friend too was a bonus to that.
And I would say, as you say that, any other fan base would probably not laugh nearly as much as the things we were laughing at, because it was Bills Mafia based.
Oh yeah, the references to the Music City Miracle and the 13 seconds.
13 seconds and the wide right.
I loved it.
We know all of that.
There is a scene that takes place in the cemetery that's at the stadium. That they had to have some sort of seance, right? Like a cleansing of the vibes. It's really great. It's a great movie. I encourage everybody to check it out. I don't know when it'll be, when you can see it. Look it up. They got a Facebook page. I like their Facebook page too. Yep. So
Unbillievible. So, Dan, it was fun going with you, having some laughs.
Yeah.
And then I was also able to squeeze in Ghostbusters, but also not that weekend. Best laid plans didn't work out, but I went a couple nights later and very much enjoyed that. But I missed out on those Slimer buckets.
Regretfully,
I like merch and I like figurines. And
he likes
Mr. Greeley, who, another shout out to Andy Greeley, Eugene, also said, he got one. And he looked on eBay and they're going for triple the amount. So it was an investment that I missed out on as well.
I told you we got one of those Taylor Swift buckets, right?
Yes.
And those things are going for $65 on the internet. Yeah,
It's
my
who to
daughter,
go
it's
straight
worth,
to the make your money back from going to the movie.
It's worth more to my daughter than that money that you could get for sure. That piece of plastic.
Now, Dan, speaking of Taylor Swift, I know we're moving around here.
Yeah, we're bouncing. Yeah,
but you've got a Taylor Swift gig
coming up, right? So yeah, I'm doing help the people out down at the Hornell Public Library. They got a thing coming up. They're gonna do on April 26th. I believe it's just the last Friday of Hornell spring break, and they are going to do an event for the youngins called it's a Taylor Swift party, but it's the
So her new album's called
Tortured
Poets Club
Department.
Yeah, Tortured Poets Department.
Yeah. And so they were going to do some sort of screening and celebrate the release of that with some activities. And they're just great people down at the library doing cool things. And what a great way to meet the kids where they're at right now. Everybody seems to really love Taylor Swift, and rightfully so. She's a great role model. I know that I got my daughter the Taylor Swift book they have one. It's actually a little golden book. They sell it. I got it at Walmart. It's pretty cool. So yeah, and that's got a little bit of a story of her life, and it's inspiring. Although I will say she doesn't seem to wear pants very often, and in all of her performances, anyways, there's no pants.
She's got sparkly clothes, and they're these power clothes.
It is.
Well, it's more like
I'm sure it's for the performance. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, I don't know, legs, I guess. Not a comment. I guess it's just something I've noticed.
Right, you're not
We're gonna edit this whole part out. Yeah.
Not digging it at all.
No, not digging in. Nope.
Yeah.
Just a general observation.
I think she's tall. I think she has long legs, and she's showing them off. And
Tina Turner used to do it. Yeah. Tina's been
part
doing
of her groove.
Yeah.
I don't know what camera's on me, if at all, but
yeah.
Now, Dan, if we're done with that, I know we quickly went past the Bills.
We did. We talked about the Bills Mafia. What a
week for Bills, the Bills, and Bills Mafia.
There was a lot of anxiety, a lot of tension that happened this week.
Yeah, with a big trade, the Bills traded away wide receiver Stefon Diggs.
Yep.
Yes, the number one receiver the past 4
For
seasons.
the past 4 seasons, who I believe statistically has the best 4 seasons of any wide receiver that the Bills have ever had. And, it was a shock, to say the least, to hear that he was going to do. He was traded, but since then, I've grown okay with it. It seems like there was something, obviously as a player, I loved him and I liked his competitive passion, but as a storyline after every loss
He was
or
frustrated.
every offseason, just constantly hearing, about what he's going to do or what he's not going to do it got old. And the cap hit was real confusing right out the bat.
Right. We're worse off without the player even.
Yeah, we owe more money. We don't have
money.
him. But that's one season. And, like Brandon Beane said in his presser, it's April.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be better. They'll be ready to play by the time it comes around. I guess I got to trust the process. Winning or judging everything merely by a Super Bowl win or loss it's not really fair, because I like to judge the football season about how many great Sundays I had with my family,
Right.
and what
Great.
we ate that week. And, I think back to oh man, that game was great. That was the one that we had those, fancy hot dogs or whatever. We had a pierogi bar or whatever it is that my wife makes for these things. She's
50-cent
really great.
boneless wings.
Yeah, exactly. And Applebee's.
Yeah, but I will say too, I will miss Diggs.
Yep.
I truly will, and I won't miss hearing those, even the speculation of is he happy, is he unhappy.
Yeah.
I wish him the best. I noticed I said we when talking about the Bills. We're fans. It's in our backyard, the closest
family.
professional team.
Mafia.
And may the Bills. I wish. I hope we are all the best. Because again, I say we, but yeah. Now, Dan.
Yes.
Going all over the place here too. We talk about local, so Bills are our team, even though Buffalo's an hour and 45 minutes. I love, again, that I think you've worn this in the past.
Yeah, a couple passes.
The garbage plate
It
hat
is baseball
for
season.
the Red Wings,
Did
but
you
the
see
Rochester garbage
they did
plates.
for this weekend? They did. Oh my gosh, it is Moon Rocks, and they played against the Lehigh Space Pigs for the Eclipse, right? For the Eclipse.
Great.
And speaking of the Eclipse, and speaking of the library, make sure you check out if you want something to do. Actually, this is coming out way after the Eclipse.
Yeah,
But the
we've
people in
all
the
enjoyed
library
the
are-
Eclipse. We're waiting on it.
Yeah, the people in
still.
the library are going to do a thing down at Shawmut Park. So good luck to them.
Yep, we're having a party at work too, outdoors. So I work at Alfred State College. Big Blue's our mascot. I believe it's Big Blue's Solar. Oh no, this is surprise. Big
that
Blue's
sounds fun.
Solar's. Oh no, I
Solar
knew what it was.
Spectacular?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, throw some
yes.
words in there.
Yep.
Yeah. The
But
marketing department threw that
great.
together, huh?
And then now going from, you've got the Rochester garbage plates, you've got your Surfside Riders
man, we were
Inc.
rock out some old
Brady.
Shout out to Brady. Yeah, this
Here's another shout out. Brady,
yeah,
yes.
we got she had a comment on a Facebook post, I believe.
Oh, so
on
she's
there,
watching,
page.
too.
Yeah, it
All right,
looks
there you
it.
go.
And so I figured I'd dig out my old Surfside Riders and rock it. Well, we went to Railhead for lunch, and I talked about how I had some anxiety because I was wearing a Railhead shirt this morning, and then I was like, I don't know, I don't want to be the guy that wears the concert shirt to the band that they're going to see, and then so I threw on a Southern Tier Brewing shirt, and then I was like, oh man, I can't
Wear the
support
competition.
a competition. Yeah, I mean that's not cool to do. And then I was just flipping through the closet, and I was like, hey, we're casting today. I might as well throw on the Surfside sweatshirt, and this was a gift from Brady, which I'm really appreciate still. Yeah.
And Dan, I'm going to say this. She knows this already, but you may not. Brady and I are birthday twins.
B-Day twins.
Yes.
Yeah, shout out.
Number 9/12/80, same day. Maybe she was.
Oh my gosh, we same hospital?
I don't.
I don't know. We're gonna have to.
Yeah,
we're
maybe
gonna look
we'll-
into this. Maybe comment on the
I
post.
mean, I don't
Yeah.
remember much about that day, but
Yeah.
yeah, 9/12.
You a
same
Hornell?
year.
St. James?
I was. So
Yeah, okay.
yeah, we'll have
Well,
to
we're
see. We'll have
waiting.
to
We're
dig
waiting
into
on the
that.
comments, Brady.
I was born at that hospital, Dr. Kelly, I believe.
Yeah.
I was a C-section. That's why my head's so round.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful
Not
head.
cone
Look
head.
at that boy's head. Beautiful round head. Yeah. So we talked about my shirt. Tell me
Yes,
about yours.
and then my shirt. So we've had one cast since I originally worn this on St. Patrick's Day, but Ryan Flight, so big shout out. I know he also listens. Ryan Flight's
Oh yeah.
from the infamous PSD brothers, let's
I think
say.
infamy's a bad thing, dude.
Oh, really? No, I think it will live in infamy. I think that's good.
I think that's like a bad thing. Like,
No.
you're famous if you're infamous is being famous for a bad reason, right?
Is it?
It's like, today we'll live in infamy.
I thought
right?
that
Like,
was
no,
good.
I think that's a bad
All right. Well, if it's bad,
Anyways,
then he's not infamous.
I'd say the famous.
Famous.
Flights
I thought
brothers.
infamous meant even more famous. Oh gosh, we're gonna have to cut this.
It's funny
out
we're talking
too.
about right. He would pertain to a couple former casts too, also. So like he was on that soccer team that won the championship, and I
yes.
believe for like a really long time, probably until very recently, with the last team that won sectionals this year. I think Ryan was like the all-time goal scoring leader.
Oh, wow.
in Hornell history. At least he was for quite a stretch. I don't know. He could
Okay.
probably correct that too.
But
And then there's like all sorts of threads, right? Because like Stevie Johnson and the Bills Mafia, and he brought Stevie
that's
Johnson.
right.
To town,
Oh,
and-
I had the
yeah,
ball
that's good stuff,
signed.
right?
Oh, that's right.
Those are good. That's good stuff.
That's
They did
right.
awesome stuff. It's still doing great stuff.
Yes.
Really
And
impressive.
So Ryan, I remember being at Pizza King, another
Shouting him
shout
out
out
again, dude.
Yes, and
Keep shouting out.
being at Pizza King, who we love as well,
Mm-hmm.
and having Ryan show me some early artwork for PSD and being like, wow, like, what is this going to be? And
Look what
yeah.
it turned into.
international and probably more than national, international.
So much like I mentioned, your story about joining Collective Soul on stage, right? And how it's like one of those things that where like when you introduce people and you're like, oh no, I know a guy. Like when you
Yes,
introduce, like,
yes.
oh, I got a buddy. I can't tell you how many times I've shown the picture of Orion Flights and Kevin Durant to people. That, like, I end up like downloading it on my phone and be like, no, I know this guy. No, he met Kevin Durant.
Yep,
Yeah.
and my similar story is when you see the waistband, the PSD waistband on people, in any like online photo, and you're like, I know the guys that made that on those
Yeah.
underwear, and people are like, what?
Yeah, my coworkers are like, yeah, we know.
Yeah, right,
You've
right.
told us like a
Yeah.
1,000 times. You know those
Luckily,
guys.
as my
Yes.
friends ripple from Rochester, Buffalo, even towards like Pittsburgh, they're like, tell me more.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
there was actually a friend, like of a friend that I met, like on a boating trip. Not that I was on a boating trip. We were like on a boat one time, and he had them on, and I'm like, oh, I know those guys, and he's like, what do you mean those guys?
What do you mean those guys?
Yeah. So to Kurt too, let's give a shout out because
Yeah.
they're a
Brothers
team
are
effort. But I digress. This is one of Ryan's new passion projects. He made this shirt for me. So even the bleaching out, but no
cool.
celebs, and one of his new brands that will be dropping shortly. This is an early shirt that I'm proud to be wearing. today.
Congratulations, Ryan.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome,
yeah,
man.
Ryan, way to go. Here we go. Boom, boom.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
These Flights Whatever art is awesome.
Yes.
Check that out.
Yep. So
You know what? Why don't you come on the cast, Ryan? When you're in town, let's get you on, man.
Yes.
We'll have a great
Come back to
conversation.
Hornell.
Instead of us just talking about you without you here, we could do it to your face.
you feel like that right as we say things, you're like, well, that one's not true.
Yeah, right.
Yada,
Like, no,
yada,
that
so-
didn't happen.
right.
Yeah.
And then Dan, did we have one more thought today?
Well, you were going to tell us about your gig, right? You had a.
That's right. Yes.
And the really funny, make sure you guys check out Bill Pyatt's interview of John and Dave,
Yeah.
the Choir Boys, right?
Yes.
Debuted.
Yep. Dave Bolivar and I got back together. Bet this has been a number of years since the John and Dave show. We called it the Choir Boys, right? We're a couple of choir boys. And people were very confused. Would be backing up a choir? Would a choir be backing us up? But it was just the two of us, a little duo, both acoustic and electric. I had a percussion kit, and I even played a little bit of acoustic guitar. But 2-hour gig at Savor Wines. Boom, boom, boom. Shout out to the Pyatt family.
Yeah, they're great.
Yep, Bill, Susie, Faith was there. Evelyn was out having her own good time, I was told.
Yeah.
But maybe she'll see us in the future, but be able to connect. But
Bill's got a great Facebook presence and a great
Yes.
social media presence and
Yep.
just a great presence in person too. He's really just what a
yes, they
phenomenal,
treated us great.
special
We
person.
had a good time. And Dave, thank you as well for hanging out. And I will have to say, yes, if you watch like the video before we started playing, Bill wants to interview us, and I feel like I started interviewing Bill.
You took over the interview for sure, man. I was laughing pretty hard. I was like, Rachel, come in, look at this. This is so funny.
And I have to say, as a fan of Howard Stern, he's done that every time he's ever been interviewed. He has to take it over because it's natural for him to interview people. And I think I'm just naturally curious about others. So
yeah, like sometimes I've seen like episodes of Letterman where he was a guest on something
Yes.
too, like later in his
Letterman's
even
like,
after he
"I'll just let you
retired
take
and kind
over
of just
here."
totally takes over. But
yeah. So thank you all for hanging out with us on another Beyond the Rotunda cast. And Dan, I don't know if we can see, but my pup cried a couple times until I whisked her in
got
here.
her in here for
Hi,
sure,
Lou.
Luna.
She gave a couple of cries, and I went like that, and here she came. So
yeah.
you're a part of it now too. She was actually laying literally under my feet most of the time, but she got antsy, so that might be time to stop.
I think it is. I think the dog might need to go out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so do we. Who let the dogs out?
Oh,
Who?
oh, that's fun, dude. That's a way to end it. Anyways, really appreciate you guys watching BTR with us. It's fun. We're having a fun time. We'll keep releasing the footage as long as we have footage to release too, and
much more to come.
You know, maybe when we run through ours, we'll start looking to other sources. I know Paisha's got a lot of stuff.
Yes,
he's got a lot of us growing up back in the 90s.
Paish wants to help us with our lighting and stuff too. So thank you.
I left it on you for a really long time.
Oh,
okay. Hey, there you go. Appreciate you, folks. Thanks so much.